Guys. Fuji Guys got a great video today. It's about our brand new X-E2 interchangeable compact system camera. Now it's the replacement model of the X-E1, and you'll notice that it looks very similar. We have it available in the black, similar to the X-E1, as well as the black and chrome. And you know, again, on the outward appearance, these cameras look very, very similar to the X-E1. But there are some major upgrades on this camera.
Some refinements.
Yeah, some refinements. So anywhere from a brand new sensor, which we'll tell you about in a second, to the addition of Wi-Fi. But again, if you're looking at the camera's form factor, you know, we really designed it nicely right out of the gate. So we didn't change an awful lot of that. Screen size and things like that and resolution have been upgraded. But you know, all in all, there are an awful lot of improvements on the X-E2 over the X-E1. So, you know, check our website, check our other videos to get some of that. This video is just going to give us a first look and kind of go through around the camera and show you what it's all about. So go take it away, Billy.
Thank you, Greg. So I'm just going to show you some of the layouts of the controls, the buttons, and point out a few things that have changed over the X-E1. So looking at the front of this X-E2, of course, because it's an interchangeable lens camera, we have the release here on the bottom. And then just by holding it down and twisting, you can see it reveals basically the mirrorless camera. So there's no mirror. It's a APS-C CMOS sensor. It's an X-Trans sensor. It's the latest sensor with the phase detection pixel. It's number 2. You got the contact pins for the lenses. And again, to insert the lens back onto the body, you match the little indicators in orange. Okay. On the right of this, you have the AF assist lamp. Helps to assist in low light situations for the focusing. You got the X-E2 logo, of course. You know, you purchase the X-E2 because it says it right there. You have the autofocus selector, just like you would with the X-E1. You have the ability to do manual focus, do single focus, as well as a newly improved continuous autofocus system, which is the way it should be implemented by starting it by pushing halfway down versus it continues to do that. On one side of the camera, you got the strap eyelid for the neck strap. On the opposite side, you also got the strap eyelet for the secondary side for the, again, neck strap. You also got a terminal cover. When you open that up, it reveals access to the USB connector. That USB connector can be used to connect accessories like the RR90 remote to, you know, create sort of that release, electronic release. You have the mini HDMI connector. You also have mic input so that you can use third-party mics or even the mics that we offer with X-Series cameras. In addition to that, of course, you can also use any optional third-party microphone. It needs to be a 2.5 connector or at least get an adapter from a 3.5 to 2.5. Okay, looking at the bottom of this camera, we obviously got the standard tripod socket. It is in metal. And beside that, we have the battery cover. Opening the battery cover, of course, reveals the rechargeable lithium battery. It uses still the standard MPW126, which is found on the majority of our CSE cameras. We also have the memory card slot. It takes basically an SD card format. It goes all the way up to an SDXC card. And if you plan to do a lot of videos as well as shoot in RAW, I recommend at least a very fast card, at least a class 6 or high, and it also supports the ultra high speed cards as well for faster writing. You can benefit from that. So looking at the top of this camera, of course, there's some dials that are very similar to the X-E1. You got the exposure compensation dial, but it now has up to 3 stops. So that's 1 extra stop more that you can control to under or overexpose. You got the function button. It defaults to the ISO controls. However, you can customize it by holding the button down for a few seconds, and it brings up a menu, and you can select from options like white balance, dynamic range, even movie modes if you want a quick access to that. In playback, that button doubles up as the Wi-Fi on and off switch. So if you want to quickly share your images to your smartphone, you can download the free app. And by pushing that button, it starts up the Wi-Fi on the camera itself. And then using your smartphone, open up the Fuji app, you can quickly connect to the camera, which at that point, you can share both your images and videos. You got your on and off switch. So you turn that to be on and off, just like the X-E1. And of course, we still kept the shutter release with the mechanical thread so that you can attach mechanical shutter release if you wanted to remotely shoot with this camera. To release the shutter. Of course, it's great for bulb modes. It's great for long exposure. Anytime you don't want to add shake to the camera, that's when you kind of use that device. So you have several options, mechanically, electronically, and even a wirelessly option via the third-party adapter. You got your shutter speed dial, just like the X-E1. What's new with the shutter speed dial, of course, is that there's a new 1/80th of a second shutter speed, which is basically the fastest sync speed for the flash on this camera. So if you do a lot of flash photography, you can quickly set it to the 1/180th maximum if you wanted to, and it's now on that dial. You have your hot shoe, and it accepts Fuji's EF flashes from the EF42, 20, even the X-20 flash. And of course, in front of that, you got your left and right stereo microphone. So the camera does offer full HD video at 60 frames a second. You can also select it at 30 frames a second. And of course, it records stereo. Now, of course, like I mentioned earlier, you have the optional mic. Just beside that is it's a little flash, but it's actually the flash. And if I pop it up for you quickly, you can see it comes out. It incorporates the new super intelligent flash system, which really gives you a good control over the flash output. It does it automatically. Whether you're taking close-up shots or you're taking portrait shots, it's going to be very subtle, so it doesn't wash out the subject, which is very, very unique technology to Fuji. So looking now at the back of this camera, of course, we have the viewfinder. As you can see, it uses an electronic viewfinder. It uses the same 2.4 million dot organic LED display. What has been updated, of course, is the refresh rate of this is much, much faster, even in low light situations. So you have less of that lag time when you look through that. So it makes it very, very useful. You got the diopter adjustment. You have the eye sensor that automatically detects. When you do have it enabled, you can have it set so that it can turn off the LCD and or EVF and switches automatically to your preference. But there's also a new feature which actually turns off the LCD completely. And when you stick your eyes to the viewfinder, it turns on the viewfinder. And when the eyes are completely off, it turns off everything. So you save a lot of battery. So I like that new feature. You got your pop-up flash button, as you can see there. And of course, the flash, as Greg mentioned in previous videos, you can actually tilt the flash. So if you want to bounce it off the ceiling, you can actually do that with this built-in flash. The Q button's been relocated from the location right here, and this new access gives you quick access to things like ISO controls, raw shooting, film simulation modes, and a lot of the quick features that you would want to change your image parameters. You can do that from there. You have your command dial. The command dial allows you to change some settings, including 1/3 stops of the shutter speed. In manual focusing, it also allows you to push inward so that it magnifies the center of the portion. So it makes it easier to obviously focus. You have the little LED light that kind of blinks, and that just tells you that it's writing to the memory card and or it's charging up the internal capacitor for the built-in flash. There's new buttons here, the AFL and AEL buttons, basically the autofocus, auto exposure buttons. They're now separated, so you can actually control them separately as you wish. To the left of that, you have the built-in speakers. And below that, you have the standard directional pad that's found in the majority of the X-series cameras. Allows you to navigate the menus. The menu OK button allows you to confirm. The display back button allows you to go back out of that screen. It also toggles the different displays on the LCD screen. You can fully customize this display if you wanted to use the histogram, if you wanted grid lines, if you wanted even electronic horizon level, you could. You also have this directional pad that also doubles a couple features. First, the macro enables to shorten the focus distance, so it makes it quicker to focus. There's also an AF button that allows you to move the 49 different points within this camera quickly by pushing down and navigating through that screen, as you can see there. You also, the AF button can also be customized. If you don't want it to be an AF button, you can hold it down for a few seconds, and it allows you, of course, to select different options within here as well. So I'm just going to leave it as that because I prefer that. On the left-hand side, similar button layouts. They're a little bit smaller because it's a larger screen. In fact, it's now a 3-inch screen that offers over 1 million pixels. It's very nice, very clear. And it's going to be a lot easier to see and find sharpness in the image if you're checking for that. It also has a new protective glass on it so that it prevents scratches. Of course, you can always pick up screen protectors that's in this size as well. So we got the Function 2 button. Customize to what you would like. You have the AE button, which is the exposure button. You can also customize this button to what you like. So there's basically 4 different buttons on this camera that's fully customizable to your options, which, as a photographer, everyone has different needs. For me, it'll be maybe shooting some videos with my kids. I can set one of these buttons to instantly switch to the video mode. You got the dry button, which allows you to change things like the high-speed shooting modes, the bracketing modes, as well as the multi-exposure. And there's also a new feature that allows you to shoot in what we call advanced filters effects, which gives you things like toy cameras, gives you that vignetting effect, miniature effect that kind of blurs the top and bottom and makes it look like you're shooting sort of a diorama. There's also other cool things like partial colors, but of course my other videos will talk closely about those features. And there's also multi-exposure. So if you like to take multiple shots, you can do that with this camera, and it superimposes it together as one. Above that is the playback button, and you can push that to toggle between the images. And of course, tapping the shutter button goes back to the shooting mode. So there are some changes. I really like the addition of the 4 function buttons that you can customize to what you like. Even the ISO control nowadays have that limiting for shutter speed. So in fact, you can also shoot in auto ISO and never have to go back to that menu. So you can change the function button to something else if you wanted to.
Well, that's great. So do come back and watch, you know, the next video, which will give you a look at all the features on this camera, the top features. Remember that this camera will, you know, although it looks like an X-E1, it will be a little bit more expensive, but does have a lot more going for it. So do read for more details on our website and brochures to get all that information. Check out all our other videos by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and follow this guy Billy on Twitter. Till the next video, I'm Greg.
And I'm Billy.
And we're the Fuji Guys.